In the Jets benching the second overall pick, Zach Wilson, after last week's loss to the Pats. Mike White on in relief. Bears down their starter as well. We'll get there, but we begin with Mikey Blanco. Opening drive, White to Garrett Wilson wide open in the corner of the end zone. Just like that, Jets up 7-0. White on the opening drive, 6 of 7 for 69 yards. Zach Wilson all week last week, 77 yards, no touchdowns. No Justin Fields, as we said, separated shoulder in the loss to Atlanta a week ago. So it's Trevor Siemian, who did have some oblique issues in pregame, but still going to give it a go. Early second quarter, Siemian fires to Byron Pringle. Goes up and grabs one over DJ Reed to make it 10-7 Chicago. But all Jets from then on. Mid-second, Mike White over the middle to Garrett Wilson. Puts his foot in the ground. See ya. Jets up 14-10. And just like that, the whole of Jets fandom feels like they might have something. White in the first half, 235 and 2 touchdowns. That guy, just watching in the rain. Mid-third now. White back to throw again. Some is good. You know the rest. How's your chemistry with Mike White, Elijah Moore? Jets up 24-10. White's third passing touchdown of the game. Zach Wilson career, 0 3 passing touchdown games. It's what you're going to be measured against. And the measure here was quite obvious. Next Jets drive, 1st and 10, going in again. This time it's Ty Johnson running through that porous Bears defense. Jets up 31-10, and that's your final. 4 offensive touchdowns this game for New York. 4 offensive touchdowns in their previous 4 games combined. Yes, Mike White was great. Yes, the Bears aren't. Jets 7-4, their best 11-game start since 2010. That's 6 straight wins against teams not named the Patriots for this Jets team as well. The Bears, meantime, 5 consecutive losses, 8 of their last 9. Really just positioning for picks at this point. Did lose Eddie Jackson with a foot injury to that shoddy turf there in East Rutherford. Darnell Mooney also down in the third quarter with an ankle injury. So the Bears leaving with a loss and bruised and battered as the Jets cover the 7.5, and the over comes through. All right, here's a look at the 2 stacked up against one another. Zach Wilson, his 6 starts. Mike White, his first start this season, Sunday against the Bears. 57% completion percentage on the season. There's been a big knock here on Wilson. Also, the inability to get that ball to the end zone. But Mike White, 315, 3 touchdowns, no giveaways. Perhaps the answer to the question for at least the short term. All right, taking a look at some other results coming in across the NFL here out of the 1 p.m. Eastern window. It's the Bengals edging out the Tennessee Titans 20-16. Joe Burrow 22 of 37 for 270 and a touchdown. Really a nondescript game as these two teams sort of traded jabs through the first 30. It was Cincinnati controlling the second half here, and then a costly penalty at the end of the game robs Tennessee of a chance to come back. It's Cincy moving to 7-4 and even with the Titans. All right, let's head out to Music City for more from our head man, Charles Davis, on the call for this one. CD, it's always a pleasure. And I heard you say at halftime how these two teams, a lot of it is looking in the mirror, very similar in a number of different ways. And I think we saw that again here on Sunday. What separated them in your eyes here in these 60 minutes of football?
I think that Cincinnati's ability to make plays in the passing game are always going to be a separator in a game like this, because Tennessee, they had a big night against Green Bay last Thursday, but the consistency in the passing game, being able to have that guy who can shake free when you need it. And in Cincinnati's case in this game, one was really unlikely, Trent Irwin. He made that big catch on the sideline that kept the drive going, and he was actually in a position, as we talked about it during the game, they had 3 receivers to the wide side of the field, 1 receiver on the backside. That's an isolation route for your best receiver. Oftentimes you use Jamar Chase in that spot. Trent Irwin is the one guy you go to in a key situation, and he nails it. You come back later on the last drive to give him the touchdown to go up big. Guess what? They've run the same play, but now they substitute Trent Irwin for T. Higgins, who you would expect to be there, but because of the way you've created the coverage, they can't cover him. It's a one-on-one route. He goes over Roger McCreary and catches the football. The last part of it, Cincinnati ran the football way better than expected. They had, I think, 112, 115 yards on the ground. Samaje Perine carried it well. Joe Burrow at one point had 29 rushing yards to Derrick Henry's 19. it was that kind of a day for Cincinnati. They really outgutted them in a lot of ways in this one. I just hated for it to end the way it did. Tennessee would have had a chance to come back and tie, but that was a tough call down the stretch and a correct call, hitting the defenseless long snapper, which is something I know Tennessee covers quite well in all of their meetings. They're very good about the rule book. That was a major surprise.
And here you see it, as you say, it's the right call as that snapper does have protection early on, and great call by the officiating crew to catch something like that. Sometimes your eyes go away from it. You mentioned it here. Far more explosion and opportunity on that Cincinnati offense, which sort of begs the question of this Tennessee offense that is so run predicated, with King Henry being the answer to most questions here, CD. But as you project them forward, they do look like a playoff team, but they're sort of stuck in this 16 to 20 point purgatory. Is there another gear when you look at Tennessee?
I still think there's another gear, but part of it that they're stuck on is, unfortunately, Ryan Tannehill's right ankle. Because this team, when they're running the ball effectively, and you can now run Ryan Tannehill is a terrific athlete, on the bootlegs, on the half rolls, on your play actions, quarterback run game, quarterback draws, things of that nature that also confound a defense. A lot of that is shelved in the playbook right now. So now you can't create as much space as you want to, and it's an even bigger slog for Derrick Henry. You saw the trouble he had running against a really good Cincinnati defense. Their defensive front ate up blockers. Their linebackers cleaned up, along with nickelback Mike Hilton, made it very difficult for him to find space. Now, against Green Bay, he found enough space that they could play him safe, play him honestly, and now you can find Treylon Burks downfield. Robert Woods had 6 catches against Green Bay. He wasn't nearly as impactful in this game. Okonkwo, the tight end out of Maryland, they've got to get him going more. This guy can create big plays downfield, but they haven't been able to do that to the satisfaction I think that they need. Because to me, he's the second coming of Delaney Walker, who was so good here in Tennessee, but he is a rookie.
High praise there from our Charles Davis, your friend and ours, breaking down this exciting one in Tennessee. Thank you, CD. Safe travels.
Thank you.
All right, taking a look at some numbers coming out of this one. Joe Burrow did get up to 270 passing in that one touchdown in a very much a stalemate 10-10 first half, and not a whole lot of explosion in the second half, although Burrow did look downfield and find a receiver in the end zone late in the game there. T. Higgins did haul it in 7 times for $114, got you 24 in PPR scoring, and if you're not playing PPR, why are you playing at all? All right, back to East Rutherford, where change was the way of the day as Mike White usurped the former second overall pick here in Zach Wilson. White doing many things that Wilson has yet to accomplish in his career. 3 passing touchdowns on the day for White. Let's hear from Robert Saleh post-game after the win.
Marty?
Yeah, Coach, can you talk about the whole offense and whole, especially the guys like Ty Johnson, Bam Knight, the guys that had the opportunities that came up big, along with Mike White?
Yeah, just thought we played an efficient style of football. We ran the ball well. Mike was efficient with the football. I thought LaFleur called a really good game. We pushed the ball down the field when we needed to. We broke tackles in the run game. O-line strained. So just from an efficiency standpoint, it was really good.
How impressive was it what Mike did after not starting for more than a year?
He did a great job. He didn't need to be anybody but Mike White. We didn't need to turn into the greatest show on turf. We just wanted him to play within himself and play efficient. I thought he did that.
315 and 3 touchdowns, that was probably a little bit better than not the greatest show on turf. So, I mean, just what he was able to do, and also in the elements.
Especially in the elements. It was, like I said, he made the easy look easy, and that's I thought he did a really good job with that. So.
Was it more impressive that he was able to spread the ball around and connect with 10 receivers today?
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of our system, and we have a lot of really good players that are worthy of the ball. It was good to see Elijah get some production. Same thing with all our receivers. We got a plethora of them, and just thought he did a really good job distributing the ball. And like I said, I thought Mike did a really good job calling the game and opening up a lot of stuff for a lot of different guys.
Talk a lot about the run game setting up the pass, but it seemed like almost the reverse happened today because you guys couldn't really establish much of a run. Mike got going, and then the ground game kind of followed.
For sure. They started running a lot of cover two shell, and and it just opened up once that the balance started happening. And to give credit to Ty and Bam, especially when Michael Carter exited the game, I just thought they did a really good job. They ran really, really hard, broke a lot of tackles, so there was a lot of yards after contact for those two.
What was the decision, Robert, to have Bam active versus James Robinson?
Bam's been doing a really nice job, and just from a style of running I think everyone saw just one cut, get vertical. Felt like over the past few weeks there's been a lot of meat on the bone in the run game, and we felt like if we could just get vertical and get rolling. With James, he's still learning our system. There's still things that he's getting comfortable with, so no one has seen the last of him, but just thought this would be an opportunity just to get a change of pace with Bam, who gets vertical pretty quick.
Robert,
All right, let's dive into this one with a couple of our guys, Tyler Sullivan, Rick Spielman, our NFL minds, breaking it down. Guys, surely this week will be filled with Mike White praise. 3 touchdown passes proves to be the difference in this game as the Jets do go on to win it 31-10. Tyler, I'll go your way first here because perspective is important. This is a bottom of the barrel Bears defense, and I raise my hand as someone who was raised around that franchise. It has not been good, but Mike White did do what he was asked to do. Are we all in here? Is this the answer, at least for the short term?
Yeah, I think definitely for the short term, because I don't know if you can tell that locker room, hey, we're going back to Zach Wilson after what we just saw Mike White do against the Chicago Bears. Like you said, not a good secondary. They're in the bottom third in the NFL against the pass and DVOA. We get all that. It was in the rain, whatever. But still, Mike White was able to do things that Zach Wilson simply could not. And one of the things that stood out to me, obviously the 3 touchdowns and all of that are going to be the most impressive, but completions to 10 different receivers. More importantly, this team was 58% roughly on third down in this game. And that is important because that is something that the New York Jets have struggled with all season long, converting on third down. 32.3% they convert third down prior to this game. 29th in the NFL. And just for reference, the number 1 team on third down, Kansas City, 51.6. Again, small sample size for Mike White here, going 58% on third down. But that is something to take note of. They're converting when they need to. They're pushing the ball down the field when they need to. Multiple plays where receivers had 29-plus yards receiving on chunk plays. Those are things we just haven't seen this New York Jets team do. And the fact that they're playing good defense, they're now sitting at a pretty good record here. This is going to be a telling test here over the next couple of weeks when they play Minnesota in Minnesota and Buffalo in Buffalo. But right now, Mike White is the answer in that Jets locker room at quarterback.
And that's just it. Any grand proclamations we want to make about Mike White? Maybe hold off a week, perhaps 2, as if he goes out and does this against a Vikings team or a Bills team, it's surely to mean a whole lot more. What did this day mean to you, Rick Spielman?
Well, what Coach Saleh said was that he made the easy look easy, which means their offense wasn't dog poo this week, how he described it last week. So he did an excellent job executing the game plan, getting the ball out of his hands. You knew he was going to be efficient because that's why they put him in there to run this offense. They were able to run the ball. I think 10 different targets caught passes today. And they created some chunk plays down the field because they were able to run the ball so well. And then Mike White seeing some guys open down the field. And you see what Wilson can do when he gets a chance to get the ball in his hands and what an explosive playmaker he can be. So I don't know if this is Mike White last year had the big win against Cincinnati, so he was the hero of the week and he was the future of the New York Jets, but then he came back to reality. So I agree with what they do over the next couple games with Mike White as the starter. We'll see if he's actually the answer or not.
We tend to grade on a week-to-week basis. It is an A+ on this given day.